Hey guys, welcome to my channel today. Today I want to discuss the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan and the danger of what that can mean for our future. In the plan, obviously eligible Americans can receive a $1,400 check, as well as there's a bunch of other provisions within the plan that give more time and money to Americans who are under economic hardship during these times. What I'm going to do is highlight the potential long-term negative ramification of this 1.9 trillion stimulus bill should it pass, along with the 2.2 that we did back in March in a mad dash to save the economy. Now, if you add them both up, that is $4.1 trillion. And to be honest, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that number. But 1 trillion equals $1 million. Or to put it another way, it's $1,000 billion. It's 12 zeros after a 1. So to think that we printed $4.1 trillion in the last year and 2 months, it's pretty crazy to think about. So in essence, we printed $4.1 thousand billion due to the pandemic to save our economy. So what I'm fearing is that all this extreme money printing that we have done is going to lead to some dire consequences down the road. And what do I mean by that? Well, the general definition of inflation is the general increase in prices of consumer goods or of goods in general. If you look at it a different way, every dollar in the future will buy you less and less of a particular good. I'm struck by the notion that every country that has printed an extreme amount of money like we have, it has never ended well for its country or its citizens in the long run. If you guys take a look at this chart from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, and you look to the far right in the yellow part over here in the graph, you can see that we have printed a staggering amount of money. It has just gone completely vertical in the beginning of 2020. So guys, I just wanted to show you the CNBC article that was written some time ago, but it is an article that basically says, you can see here, the worst hyperinflation situations of all time. And I want to read you this little paragraph coming up right here. And it says right here in the middle, as it turns out, hyperinflation generally coincides with wars and a series of ill-advised and inflammatory fiscal policy decisions. But at the core is a result of a rapid increase in the money supply that is not supported by growth in the economy. Obviously, we're not in a war right now, but it could be debated that we are and have a series of ill-advised and inflammatory fiscal policy decisions. And with this 1.9 trillion that's potentially going to be printed, we do have, well, what it says here, a rapid increase in the money supply in the United States. And I'm just going to go scroll down here just to let you see the examples through history. And we have number 5 at Greece, 1944 with hyperinflation. What's coming up next is Germany, 1823, which is probably the most famous at number 4. Number 3 is Yugoslavia, 1994. And the remaining 2 is Zimbabwe in 2008, at number 2. And finally, we have Hungary in 1946. So as you can see here, we have factual historical examples of hyperinflation when the government, its country's governments just printed too much money. Whether that remains to be seen in the United States is, we'll see in the future. But we are printing a lot of money, $4.1 trillion. And I believe that, all these countries that did print money were between a rock and a hard place. And they printed their money to fix their short term problems, but eventually paid the long term price with hyperinflation. Germany being the best example of hyperinflation, I wanted to show you guys a photo here of a woman burning cash to keep warm because it was actually cheaper to burn cash than use that cash to buy firewood. I mean, that might sound crazy, but it is reality, or it was that reality. I mean, think for a moment that it's actually cheaper to burn the cash to keep warm than using that cash to buy firewood. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to happen to the United States, but we can see through history when money printing by governments becomes too extreme, bad things can happen. In a nutshell, what does that mean for the citizens who work hard in our country and try to save for a better future? Well, very simply, it means that every dollar a person saves is like a melting ice cube with less purchasing power in the future. To give you a clear example, say a cup of coffee costs $2.50 today. Well, tomorrow it could cost $5 or $10. Or a gallon of milk at $3.50 today could cost $8 tomorrow or $10 tomorrow. As an example of preserving purchasing power, that's where you see a lot of smart money today, like Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, Square, Elon Musk of Tesla buy Bitcoin. In a sense, what they're trying to do is protect their cash from this melting ice cube effect by keeping it in things that have a store of value because they see this potential risk coming on the horizon. Whether you believe in Bitcoin or not, this is the reason why they're purchasing that asset class. Now, there are arguments for and against inflation due to this extreme money printing from very educated people. So you guys will have to make up your own decision in the future. But in my humble opinion, I actually just look to the smart money and what they're doing, and also look at the historical facts. It's just never ended well for any country who has printed this extreme amount of money. To be fair, I realize the economic rock and a hard place that we are in, and our leaders have very hard decisions to make. I understand why we're printing massive amounts of money. I just hope that everyone is aware of the potential consequences of this $1.9 trillion stimulus bill if it should pass, on top of the $2.2 trillion stimulus bill back in March in 2020. If it passes, I hope it does a lot of good. I really do hope it helps a lot of people. But just be aware we might have very high inflation in the future, and awareness is part of the solution. All right, guys, I hope you got some value out of this. Please like, subscribe, or tell me what you don't like and what to improve on. And I'll see you on the next one.